Alright, everyone, we just finished our playthrough of Tormented Souls. We can see, let me open the Steam page for this game too. I wonder what, also, I want to check out the second one too, if that's linked here somewhere. Oh, this game has a demo as well, that's cool. Tormented Souls 2. Oh, this game looks sick. So, the raid is even grifted by planting a bunch of hemp when the water was off. Wait, didn't Google do that? This game is titled a classic survival horror, inspired by original Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark series. I have not played Alone in the Dark, so I don't know how well it works according to Alone in the Dark. Never played that, but this is a retro-inspired survival horror game that will feel familiar if you played other survival horror games, like the old retro ones, of course. And I think I think initially my impression of it was oops. Initially, my impression of it was that like it started really rough. Like when we launched the game, there's like no settings for it essentially, and then we got into a cutscene, and the doorbell sound was literally the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, like loud enough to destroy someone's ears. Which that wasn't great. The audio balancing there was not great. Then we had a gratuitous nude scene where our character woke up in a tub naked for no particular reason. And immediately off the bat, we had some puzzles that were, I struggled a little bit to solve them, but after playing the game for a little bit, I actually started to like it a lot, and I feel like they did a pretty good job of following that retro-inspired Resident Evil theme. Like, it definitely feels a lot like an old Resident Evil game, which is great. I think compared to those games, this game does a pretty. It's been a while since I played them, so I might be speaking out of my ass here. But it feels like this game does a pretty good job with puzzles. Like, I actually really enjoyed most of the puzzles in this. I think some of them were a little bit too difficult or requiring of, like, real-life skills, which I'm not necessarily a big fan of. Just because I feel like a game should... I feel like everything in a game should be solvable with things that are available in that game, right? You shouldn't necessarily need to understand... I miss a few of those too. You shouldn't necessarily need to be able to do specific things in real life or have information from real life in order to solve puzzles in the game. Like, sure, that stick puzzle, the one with the numbers to get into the vending machine thing, that was fine, or to the cash register, that was fine, but it's one of those, like, if I imagine that puzzle back in like, I don't know if Resident Evil had any of those puzzles, but if I imagine that puzzle back in 1993, it's one of those I would just be like, alright, well, I guess I can't continue the game now. Like, I don't understand this. I guess it's time to go try to find a guide on game FAQs. When did game FAQs even open up? Opening. 1995. God damn it, I wouldn't even be able to go to game FAQs. But you know, like, that puzzle wasn't super hard or anything. Obviously, that was very solvable, and a lot of people in the chat solved that super easily. Older than me, true. Yeah, I think overall this game is pretty charming. I think they don't, like, I don't know if these people have made anything else. I don't know if this is their first game or whatever, but I think they did a pretty good job of. I guess this is their only game, maybe? I think they did a good job with what they had. I don't know the budget for this game. I assume it wasn't a lot. I don't know, like, how much time they had on this game, but for what it is, I think it's pretty decent. I would say that, to speak of some of the criticisms I would have with this game, I think that the monsters are a little bit too annoying, maybe, and the combat gameplay is not great. And with that, I just mean that most of the monsters feel like you can kind of like try to avoid them, but then sometimes they hit you with some bullshit that you weren't necessarily like suddenly there's like a camera angle change and the monster was like a hit, or like one of those blood spits right then you get hit. And it's hard to know at the start of the game if you can really spend your resources. Because I mean, we got to the end there, and I didn't have too many resources left, right? I had a few healing kits. I had like 100 ammo in the nail gun, which is a lot, I guess, but it was hard to get to understand like how often can I save. We ended the game with like 10 extra save reels. So I could have saved way more often. Not that it was a big detriment, because I didn't die that much. We only had to backtrack like once or twice, I think, because of deaths. But yeah, I feel like that's maybe where the game suffered the most. Like there weren't that many enemies in the game. That's fine. The enemies were okay for what they were, but they were a little bit annoying, and it was hard to know like if am I gonna like soft lock myself in this game by performing certain actions, right? Like, oh, if I use too much ammo on the shotgun, am I just gonna be like completely locked out of finishing the game? And kind of at the end there, it seemed like that might be the case. Like, I don't know if you... Let's say you get to that last boss and you just don't have shotgun ammo or nail gun ammo. Is it just game over for you then? Like, there was a little bit of shotgun ammo in that room, but I don't think it was enough to finish the game. But maybe there was. I don't actually know. And alongside that criticism too, this game was sorely lacking in bosses, right? Like, usually in these types of games, you will have like you will fight bosses throughout the game, right? And that's kind of like what I was expecting. Like, oh, we'll find a room, there will be lots of resources, we save the game, and then there's a boss fight. But that never really happened. We had a couple of mini boss fights, but other than that, there weren't any like real boss fights in the game except for at the ending there. And that boss fight was not great. That felt very lazy and very like, you know, we ran out of time. We don't, because it was just a dude on a cross that spits blood at you. That's all that dude did. And then you ran around the room. After hitting him, you ran around the room. You disabled some weird device that had a drill fall on him. That was like the entire fight. That felt a little bit lazy to me. I probably would have like wanted something else there. But I feel like the entire if he assumed this game has like 2 acts, like Act 1 and Act 2, it feels like they made Act 1 the top part of the mansion. And that was really good, and they spent a lot of time on it, and overall that was really good. Some like good ways to navigate through the mansion. The backtracking wasn't too bad because the mansion wasn't too big. The puzzles in it were good. The layout was good. I spent a decent amount of time like stuck on some puzzles. That was fine, and overall that was a great experience. And then it feels like you go down into the basement, into the underground, and it feels like that was supposed to be maybe like, you know, the same thing as above, just below. But instead it's just kind of like a more linear, like to the ending of the game type deal, which is fine, right? Like it doesn't have to be anything more than that. But yeah, it felt a little bit rushed and a little bit like I don't know what word to use necessarily, but it just didn't feel as well thought out and interesting as the rest of the game, I guess. And I think and this one is a bit hard, right? Because it's hard to know if they purposely wrote this in a way to make it feel like an old game. Because it does feel like an old game in the writing, but the writing feels not great, I guess. And that's mostly just because the plot of the game is super obvious. But the character is so aloof. She doesn't realize the most basic details of what's going on, but also she keeps being surprised by like things that shouldn't surprise her at all, right? Like, oh wow, there's a body here. What the hell? It's like, dude, you just fought like 60 mutants and waded through a wall of flesh. Like, why are you so surprised about a body, right? Like the priest guy being evil was super obvious as well. I'm not sure why everything's so like obfuscated. Like, what? I'm the second twin? No way! But yeah, like I said, it's hard to know if that's on purpose or if that's just like bad writing. That's another thing I wanted to say about that, but I forgot it when I was drinking water. Oh yeah, and also it feels like maybe the writing is a little bit weird in some sense. Like, If you look at the end of the game, right? Like, first of all, the entire hospital thing doesn't necessarily make sense. It's very Resident Evil in the sense that it's like, everything's a goddamn puzzle. Like, if anyone wanted to live in this place, it would be impossible, right? Because, like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to my bedroom real quick. They're like, alright, here, grab these 3 pieces. You can, like, sort them into these different places, or whatever. That's fine. But then we got to the underground, and it felt kind of like... It felt a very, lacking of purpose. Right, we get to the underground lab thing, whatever you want to call it, the place where the lab is supposed to be, or where you know where they're summoning this ancient evil thing, and it's just like it's some catacombs that then lead to a secret entrance that leads to the sewer, and then from the sewer it leads into some more tunnels. No, it leads to the sewer, which leads to a secret vault entrance under the sewer that then leads to some more tunnels. That then leads to more tunnels that eventually leads to a cave underneath the ground with a giant drill in it, where they have this heart hung up. And it's just like, I don't know, it feels like it's a lot of like, it doesn't feel like it logically makes sense even in the context of this weird Resident Evil world, right? This weird world where the only way to leave this mansion is to wear the key. First of all, I don't know how we got into the house, but that's whatever. But secondly, it's like, even in the context of how obtuse the above place is, that stuff doesn't feel like it makes any sense. It's like the cult did these rituals there. Somehow the dude snuck down and saw all this. If you think about all the logs, right? Like I don't remember if it was the son or whatever, but he somehow saw them in that chapel place. I think he said they're in the graveyard. And then he followed them down, and then through the vault, and then through all those like corridors. Like I don't know, it just feels like it's like a lot of things that it just like it just doesn't add up in my head. But you know, that's a little bit nitpicky. I think overall the game started really strong, and I think the first part of the game, when we're in the above ground mansion, is really good, and I think it like fell apart towards the end there, which you know, it's a little bit whatever. I liked the ending, the alternate ending there with the bolt cutters. That's cool. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the game. Overall, a pretty decent game. Excited to see what they do in this one, the second one. Oh, it releases this year. Maybe we'll play it when it releases. So mind-bending environmental puzzles. Wait, as you try to rescue your cursed sister. Wait, did it canonize an ending? No! Good game gave us a hot scene at the start before the confusing roaming around solving puzzle part. I actually feel like reading negative reviews is more useful for me. Atrocious voice acting. Mismatched subtitles, that was true, I did see that a couple of times. Yeah, the puzzles were a little bit moon logic-y for sure, to an extent. Like, if you think about one of the puzzles that I was stuck on the puzzle... The one we were stuck on for the longest time was putting the arm on. So, there's a mannequin, you put the arm on the mannequin, and then it falls off. And then I found a stapler. I'm like, oh, staple it on. So we go there, put the arm on the mannequin, staple. And it doesn't work, it says like, it says the stapler isn't strong enough. So we spent like 2 hours running around the mansion, finding things, looking for things. Be like, ooh, I found like blood. I'm like, ooh, I put blood into it. But then eventually I was like, wait a second. And I examined the stapler. There's a little knob on it. You turn it. Now it's strong enough. It's like, does that... First of all, if you use a stapler like that before, it probably makes sense immediately. Maybe. I don't know how common those staplers are. I've never used a stapler like that before. But secondly, it's like, damn, that's like 2 hours of my life just spent running around doing essentially nothing. Same with that freezer. It's like we find the mold, and then eventually we find out that there's a vending machine that we can put a coin into, and then we put the blood in the mold and then put that in the freezer. That was also one of those like... but they're satisfying if you solve them though. Alright, let's give this game a little score. So, on the Endaline scale, we have a 10 is a flawless masterpiece, 9 everyone should play this, 8 great experience worth playing, 7 good, play if it sounds fun, 6 alright, play if you like the genre, 5 average, what for what it's all cost. I think to be realistic with the rating here, and this might be harsh, I feel like the reality of the situation with this game would be 2 things for me. 1, a lot of these games that this game is replicating have modern versions of them now that are really, really, really good and arguably do what the old games did, just better, right? Like they took the retro games and just modernized them, and now they kind of like, they feel the same, but they're modernized and they're great, right? And 2, if I was gonna say like, hey, Mr. Chatman, you right there, I'm pointing at you right now. This person that I'm putting on in the chat on your screen. You wanna play a retro horror game, huh? You know, play Resident Evil 3 on an emulator, play Resident Evil 2, play whatever game, right? Like, would I recommend Tormented Souls over playing the OG games it's based on? Probably not, right? Like, it was good, but I don't want to play a retro horror game. Oh, I pointed it on. You should be like down here somewhere. You. So it's like, this feels like a game to me that is a fun little trip back to the past. I think the puzzles in this are better than what I remember in those games, but I don't think it has the same charm as those games necessarily. But I think this game was pretty good. So I think with that said, I would probably put this game at like a... I'm gonna rate this game a bit higher than maybe I should, and that might sound crazy, but I'm gonna give it a 6.9. The idea here for me is that, like, if you look at my scale, I don't think this game warrants like a play if it sounds fun type deal. I don't think this is something where I'd be like, oh, you want to play something? You should try Tormented Souls. It's a great game, right? But I feel like it's almost there. I feel like Tormented Souls 2 could be there. I feel like that could be like in the mid 7s, maybe up top 7s, if it's like a good improvement on this formula. But I think a 6.9 is a pretty fair score for this game. Let's see if it's an open critic. 7.4. Alright. We spent how much time on this game? We spent 11.3 hours. Damn, we're right in the time zone. Pretty good. Let me add Tormented Souls to my wish list. I'm not logged in here. Let me open up my other browser. Oh yeah, let's put it here. Tormented Souls. Another game added to the list. Right. I think that was it for Tormented Souls. I would say overall, to recap my emotions for the 6.9, I would say this is an overall good game that has interesting and different puzzle mechanics in it that were overall engaging, especially from a perspective playing this with other people, kind of through chat, right? The fact that you guys could kind of like, I think I didn't mention, which I thought was fun about this game. it's fun that this is a game that not a lot of people have played. So like a little bit of backseating for chat doesn't feel as bad because this isn't like Resident Evil, you know, 2 remake or whatever. It's like everyone has played it. So when I get to a puzzle, it's like everyone has already solved the puzzle, seen people solve it. And this felt more natural, like, oh, no one actually knows what the solution to this puzzle is. We were kind of like solving it together. That was really cool. But yeah, I think it does a good job with the puzzles. I think the narrative is like interesting. It wasn't too much. It didn't spend too much time on like notes and stuff. So it was fun finding notes and like reading about them. The story is like whatever overall. The combat in the game is mediocre. Only one big boss fight. That sucks. But overall, like a pretty decent game. A game that I could say like, hey, you like I said, a 6.9 is like that's like a genre game. If you're like, hey, you really like retro horror games, play this. Yeah, like a great recommendation for retro horror game. If you already played everything else that you could think of, right? You played Resident Evil 2 and 3 and any other of those games, and you just want to play something like those games, super easy to recommend this game, right? If that's also what you're looking for, probably wouldn't be a super easy to recommend, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Here's the plan, everyone. I'm gonna feed the dogs. Then I'm gonna return with some food. We're gonna watch a clip. Let's see what we're watching. We can see how long it is. We're gonna watch a video. Text Talks History: The Greatest Con in Early Aviation by Heinrich. This is a 1-hour video. What the hell is wrong with this guy? Okay, we'll watch 20 minutes of this video. And then we'll play Expedition 33, I guess, which I haven't launched yet, so that might be a disaster. But I'll be right back, everyone. Whoop.